Welcome to my channel. It's Egwin here from Beyond Systems. For those of you who are new, this month I share one exercise every single day. So it's a movement month that you can tag along with and just try out. There are many different exercises, some for beginners, some for intermediate, some for advanced, some for strength, some for mobility, some for flexibility. And I always give some additional nuggets on how that relates to our consciousness, how consciousness and body are connected with each other, and so on. With a couple of exercises out already. If you want to check them out, check it on my channel. And also click the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to stay up to date with more information and with the next nuggets to come. Every single video is standalone, so you do not have to look at all the others, and you can literally pick out the good stuff, the things that you need, the things that work for you, the things that speak to you in wherever you are in your life right now. The exercise that we are using today is an exercise that has a lot to do with flow. Whenever we're talking about a flow in movement, it's important that we're doing so with as little amount of tension as possible. So whenever we really tune up our tension level, then flow is very difficult because movement becomes very controlled. Flowing natural movement is an absolute symphony between muscle activation, our bones, our ligaments, our tendons, and our whole connective tissue system, as well as our breathing, and also all the liquid systems in our body, blood, lymph, and so on and so on. So it's really the symphony of the body that we try to direct in a certain direction, and that is what naturally flowing movement is all about. Here is what the following movement will look like, so you have an idea right out front. I'm gonna go into a slight side motion, and this is the exercise for today. There are some different ways we can do that, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So what's happening? Just describe what you see. Let's start down in my legs. You see there is a slight weight shift happening between my left and my right leg. You also see that I turn my hip. You also see that my spine is pretty upright while I do this. You see my arms moving, yet in a very connected way. Meaning, look at my hips, look at my shoulders, look at hips and shoulders, and you realize that they are pretty much connected with each other rather than counter rotation. Now, if you look at my arms, you realize that if I stop the movement in the hip, this rotation, then it's basically arm circles in front of the body. It would be something like this almost, but because I have an uneven stance, that's why my right arm is doing a slightly bigger circle. There is a lot of connective tissue reasons for why this is so in this specific case. As soon as I start to move my body in terms of the weight shift and also in terms of the rotation with it, the movement is looking quite dynamic. Everything is moving. My ankles, my shoulders, my elbows, my wrists, every single thing moves. All right, now let's take a look at it one step at a time. Start in a hip to shoulder with stance, inside edges roughly parallel. This is my front here. Now open the right leg to the side. See my right heel now goes a little bit wider than hip shoulder width, and I turn my right foot out towards the side, say at an angle of around 45 to 50 degrees. When I relax my hip in between, so I let go of tension in my knees so that the knees can sink towards the toes, then what I come out with is my body being pretty much out towards the side, so also at an angle of around 40-45 degrees between my legs. This is my starting point. Now try to shift your weight slightly into the right leg by bending the right knee towards the toes, and then push the weight back into your rear leg, into your left leg, namely into the heel. Turn the hip back more towards the right foot, and then rotate the hip back to the rear leg. Rotate it to the right and rotate it to the left. So you shift your weight to the right leg, hip points to the right. You shift your weight backwards and the hip turns back. Whoop. The rotation leads the weight shift. Rotation turns forward, this opens the weight shift. Rotation turns back, this opens the weight shift. Bring the arms out in front of you in a position like this. So just simply lift the arms in your shoulder joints. The fingers are slightly open, slightly engaged forward like this. In the shoulder, I try to have the least amount of tension possible, as well as in the rest of the arm. So my shoulders are not lifted. My shoulders simply hang here. And my left hand is a tiny little bit closer to my body than the right. The right arm, just like the right leg, is a little bit more turned out. That's the same with the right hand. See, the left is more bent in the elbow. The right is much more open. And now, simply try to keep this posture with the arms while you're doing the same thing than before with your weight and with your rotation. Now, if you feel that your arms, they sort of want to move, or they do even micro move, simply try to exaggerate that movement. And there we go. We have a counterclockwise circle with the right arm and a clockwise smaller circle with the left arm. Now, without adding too much tension, try to make the right circle a little bit bigger when you shift your weight to the right and turn the hip to the left. And try to make the left circle a little bit bigger when your weight goes into the left heel. Try to find the connection between the hands. So rather than thinking of it like one circle here, one circle there, really try to find this. When one arm comes closer to the body, the other arm goes out and away from the body. Another component that you can add to this is a stronger rotation. In Qigong, that's called silk reeling, which means that you add a tiny little wave-like spiral motion in the arm. So basically, the elbow lifts, the hand lifts, the elbow drops, the hand comes back in with palm facing rather upwards. So it's a slight turn in the arms like this. Try this without the movement, without the rest of the body moving. So just elbows up, palms down, elbows in, hands up, whoop, 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 whoop. All right? And now let's try to combine this with what we just did. Again, we start out just with the movement of the legs, then adding the arm component to it. Now this is what you can see almost as if you were whirling in water. Say you stand in water roughly until like this, just underneath your belly button height. And your arms are in water and they slightly whirl in water, or you barely touch the surface. Or there is a clean surface, or a smooth surface that you attempt to clean like this. And now add those rolls in the arms. Roll them out, almost like the wings of a bird of prey. Roll them out, let them come back in. Roll them out, let them back in. Roll them out, let them back in. Roll them out, let them back in. Out, in. But still with the main idea being those circular motions that are more or less horizontal to the ground. So don't get lost too much in this whipping action, and still try to have as a main focus working in this plane. In terms of traditional Chinese medicine, this is an exercise that works on the Tai Mai, which is one of the extraordinary channels that wraps from the spine all the way around the body like this. And this is what you work on, what you strengthen here. And then obviously, just gonna cut this short here, try to translate it to the other side. Little challenge for you here, but then obviously you can do the same thing just on the other side as well. Again, with more or less rotation or spiral going on. Out and in and out and in and so on. All right, have a beautiful time trying this out. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, put them in the comment box down below, and really give it a thumbs up and share it if you think that someone else that you know might be in need of this exercise or might gain some positives from this exercise. It helps me and it helps other people. All right, have a beautiful time. Thank you for watching and see you around soon. Bye, guys.